Here in these United States, it's almost time for Thanksgiving. And whether you plan to gather around a table filled with carefully crafted home-cooked recipes or just some ovened-up slices of DiGiorno, there's one thing that's likely to be more divisive at dinner than Detroit-style turkey and gravy pizza: politics.
If you know that there are differences amongst family members or you're worried about these tough conversations coming up, I think it's really important to be able to have a conversation in advance.
That floating woman in a box is a psychiatrist with El Camino Health in Mountain View, California, addressing how to address 2024's reigning elephant in the room of a holiday gathering. Indeed, after a hard-fought campaign where Donald Trump ultimately bested Kamala Harris by around 2.5 million votes, uniting with family and friends after a tough election might seem like a recipe not for a deliciously pleasant mixture like cranberries and mashed potatoes, but something that's far more bitter and unpleasant, like soda and toilet water.
There's a deep brain structure called the amygdala that's responsible for fear and anxiety. When the amygdala is operating, we're often flooded with really intense emotions, and it's very hard to have productive and calm conversations.
Many Americans, of course, still don't see eye to eye with their neighbors over the results of this month's election. And as we've even told you here before on your daily news refresh, please subscribe, YouGov surveys from before Election Day showed that those likely to support either Harris or Trump could be very different types of people, and not just in terms of demographics. Their surveys found that Harris-leaning voters, for instance, tended to have a positive opinion of Prince Harry, say they always wear seatbelts in the back seat, and admit they've snuck food or drinks into a movie theater, while Trump-leaning voters were more likely to have been in a car accident, say it's acceptable to text during a movie in a theater, and think that they've seen a UFO. So if the seatbelt-wearing food sneakers and the poor-driving UFO spotters want to avoid conflict this holiday season, even though they may believe they're living in two totally different universes, quite literally in some respects, our psychiatrist believes it's important to set expectations before the holiday gathering, and focusing on the holiday itself.
We can really set the intention that the holidays are really about that. It can make a very big difference.
As part of that expectation setting, she sets to decide in advance which topics are off limits. Talking about Trump's comeback, maybe not. Talking about the McRibs comeback, of course. And even though it might be hard to avoid big topics, as the attention surrounding our McPresident-elect could fill up way more than a giant tub of McRib sauce, in conversation with someone you disagree with, you could always try focusing on your shared values. Not unlike Bobby here, seemingly putting aside his ire for ultra-processed foods and food additives. The good doctor even suggests taking time and energy to listen to better understand the beliefs of a loved one, as different as they may be. And of course, if and when things start to get contentious, take yourself a well-deserved break.
I really recommend having just a one-liner to be able to diffuse these difficult conversations if it gets to a contentious point. An example of something you might be able to say is, I really respect your opinion on this matter, and we're going to have to agree to disagree.
Our psychiatrist notes it's important to remember that you're not always going to see eye to eye with your loved ones, and you can't control their opinions. And not just about politics, of course, but about anything. For instance, every year my aunt seems to think that this is an acceptable Thanksgiving dessert, when objectively, in reality, it's just a giant pink piece of, you know what, I should probably go for a walk. Because it's been yet another weird week here in these United States, and your news refresh was here for all of it. My name is Greg Ott, and every week here at the News Refresh, we scour the internet for the best weird, funny, interesting, and strange news stories, bake them up, and serve them to you in a video like this to express our thanks. Ahead of the holiday, we've got everything from cranberries in your checked bag to the lesson of a loose turkey. But before we dig in, please give us a like and a hot subscribe. It really does help us reach more people in the algorithm. Thanks. Now, in case you're already salivating over stuffing, dressing, or whatever you call a side dish crammed into a dead bird's cavity, have we got the document for you? Campbell's has released its 2024 State of the Sides report, featuring detailed insights into side dish trends ahead of the holiday season. This report claims that stuffing is the top Thanksgiving side dish this year, up from second place in 2023, demoting mashed potatoes to second banana, with sweet potatoes yamming it up to number 3, green bean casserole baking up to number 4, and mac and cheese melting down 2 points to number 5. Ouch. In great news for people who love filling up on bread, the report claims that 56% of Americans prefer eating side dishes over turkey at Thanksgiving, while 60% say they enjoy cooking the sides more than the damn bird itself. Surely an offensive slight to the turkeys among us not lucky enough to have been granted a pardon. Aside from sides, also found in this report, which draws from a survey of 5,000 Americans, 57% said they start listening to holiday music around Thanksgiving, and 39% of Americans wish there was Thanksgiving-specific music, not meant for other holidays, suggesting at the very least they're not acquainted with the Christian rock stylings of Matthew West.
Gobble, gobble, please.
You know, the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual Thanksgiving survey claims that the average price for a 16-pound turkey this year is $25.67, which is down 6% from 2023. But even though this year's turkey prices are a bit lower to the ground, that doesn't mean you should take your eye off the butterball.
I keep a distance between me and the turkey at all times.
That's a guy named David in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, trying to figure out what to do about this turkey that's been harassing him and his neighbors.
I put a Facebook post up because I didn't quite know what you do when you confront a wild turkey.
Community members naturally responded to his post with suggestions ranging from practical to deliciously obvious.
From, Thanksgiving menus to taking the turkey in, making it a pet.
Wild turkeys are actually common sights out in western Massachusetts. But while this turkey may seem wild, it's not exactly wild.
It turns out that it belongs to somebody in the neighborhood and that it has a name. And the name is Tovin.
Tovin's owner ended up seeing David's Facebook post and reached out, claiming the bird had been missing for about 5 days. And it seems like this whole affair can be chalked up to a very Thanksgiving-appropriate lesson.
Funny, I think what I interpreted as aggression is probably more loneliness. I think he wants to be friends. From what I understand, he's very used to human contact, and so perhaps I should have been more welcoming.
As for Tovin, let's hope that his name isn't a portmanteau of the oven. Now, in the event that you plan to stuff yourself into a bird this season, we've also got a holiday message for you, straight from your friends at the Transportation Security Administration. Check your cranberry cans, carry on your casseroles, and keep the line moving. As the holiday season gets underway, your nation's finest security theater professionals at the TSA advise that most solid foods are allowed to make their way through our delicious ionizing radiation machines. That means casseroles, baked goods, meats, stuffings, fresh fruits and vegetables, macaroni and/or cheese, spices, and even candy can be carried through TSA checkpoints. Keep the line moving. But Officer Airport wants you to remember that substances that can be spilled, spread, sprayed, poured, pumped, or pissed inside of containers larger than 3.4 ounces should go inside of a checked bag. That means gravies, that means wines, that means syrups, that means jams, that means jellies, and yes, that means cranberry sauce. Keep the line moving. Between November 26th and December 2nd, we're expected to screen 18.3 million people, most of whom will be confused by our laptop instructions. And to keep the line moving, please don't strap 320 tarantulas, 110 centipedes, and 9 predatory ants to your body. Like the guy who was arrested at an airport in Peru earlier this month with bugs inside Ziploc bags strapped to his abdomen. Now, even though this is a Thanksgiving-heavy episode, that's not to say that all the weird shit that went down this week is related to a fall harvest. On Wednesday, a banana duct taped to a wall sold for $6.2 million at auction.
What you buy when you buy Catalan's Communion is not the banana itself, but a certificate of authenticity that grants the owner the permission and authority to reproduce this banana and duct tape on their wall as an original artwork.
Police in Washington released body cam video of a chase after a loose, non-compliant pig. And an animal shelter in New Hampshire was overwhelmed by a man's rapidly reproducing mice.
Over the next 3 days, we received almost 500 mice. And what I've learned so far this morning is that we probably have close to another 500 on their way in today.
Again, my name is Greg Ott, and this is just some of the weird shit we cover each and every day here on your daily news refresh. You can check out those stories elsewhere in our shorts and long feeds. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to help us reach more people in the algorithm. Oh, and feel free to leave us a comment too. In this recent video about a drone that picks up dog shit, Magellan just imagined, remember when I told you to pick up your dog's poo and you said it wasn't your problem? Well, you should check your gutters because it and the whole neighborhood's dog poo is your problem now. Happy Thanksgiving.